Manchester United Real Madrid highlights, reaction, analysis. Jose Mourinho's Manchester United might be fancied to contend for this year's Premier League. But the champions of Europe reminded the sixth-placed side from England last season that although they might compete for hearts and minds off the park, the gulf on the park remains vast. The Europa League winners started brightly, but once Zinedine Zidane's side started dictated proceedings, they gave United, who could not regain possession and left Romelu Lukaku isolated up front, a torrid time, almost teaching them a lesson. Match report: Real Madrid 2, Manchester United 1. Goals in each half gave Real a buffer, although the contest was more even in the second period. Any reaction has to be in context given Premier League clubs won't be facing the might of Real every week, and in truth, Marcus Rashford should have leveled proceedings late, so United were in the contest despite being bossed for almost a third of the game. But how was that so? And what did Mourinho, who still hasn't beaten Real Madrid in a competitive match from 5 attempts, learn as he embarks on a campaign filled with big expectations? Mourinho's big surprise. The Portuguese signed up to the three-at-the-back bandwagon given he was without Eric Bailly and Phil Jones. He named a 4-3-3 but trotted out with Victor Lindelof, Chris Smalling and Matteo Darmian at centre-back, flanked by Antonio Valencia and Jesse Lingard as wing-backs. Throw in the defensive-minded Nemanja Matic in front of them and there were times 6 red shirts were patrolling the edge of David De Gea's box. Did it work? Lukaku was left isolated up top. United could not relieve the pressure as Real went on to enjoy 63% of the ball and Real's defensive midfielder Casemiro was able to still pick a hole in that rear guard to sneak in behind and collect Dani Carvalhal's chip for the opening goal. Still, with Bailey and Jones to return, it will be interesting to see whether that's a blueprint for United in the big games this season. You suspect it might be, but it's far from a finished product. We can do that, but we can also play with 4 at the back, Mourinho said. We used pre-season to work and try to improve things we already do and develop things we don't do. Lots of teams are playing with 3 defenders and wing-backs and we played like that against Sampdoria and LA Galaxy because it is something that maybe during the season we are going to do. Work in progress. Paul Pogba was again left in the shade by the likes of Luka Modric, Toni Kroos and Casemiro in the first half, and he cannot blame new partner Matic for that. The Serbian was heavily involved, and busy snuffing out Real raids. He actually had more touches, providing more passes, than anyone in red. Even Marouane Fellaini, who has his fair share of critics, made an impact with his physicality when he replaced Ander Herrera in the second half. On BT Sport, Steven Gerrard said of Pogba, "I think he has been poor, if we be brutally honest. His decision-making out there in the first half hasn't been good. I think he has been a bit individual out there rather than thinking of his teammates in the first 45. United have the tools at their disposal to mount a concerted Premier League challenge this season: speed, creativity, defensive assets, height, power. But, on the evidence in Macedonia, a slow start might not be a surprise." Lukaku isolated. Lukaku will cop it for his open goal miss in the second half, but he redeemed himself with a goal. The concern is not so much what he did, given there were a few glimpses of his ability to provide a mobile target for the next line of attack to link with, but more what he wasn't given the chance to do given how isolated he was. United won't always be playing teams as illustrious as Real, but a balance when packing the defense like today is always needed, just to escape their own half, let alone compete. Rashford's introduction was the catalyst for a better second half, as was the fact that as United chased the game, Mourinho reverted to 4 at the back again, allowing the Englishman to drive forward where Lingard struggled. But he has to improve his finishing and final ball, particularly if he is to ever have to deputize for Lukaku in the number 9 role. Bale brilliant, Isco awesome. Zidane's side had lost to Barcelona and both Manchester sides in the US, and only had Cristiano Ronaldo, who only had a late cameo, just returned from off-season to join the squad. This showed, however, they still in terrific touch to start the season. Bale, linked all window to Manchester United, was imperious, looking fit and confident again after a season dogged by injury. He providing headaches on one flank, constantly interchanging with Isco. James Rodriguez has left for Bayern Munich, and there is much talk about Kylian Mbappé, but in Isco, Zidane has a real ace up his sleeve. The playmaker was the best player on the park, and linking with Bale and Karim Benzema for the second goal, he left United looking like statues. Zidane even had the luxury of bringing on the next tier of real stars, Lucas Vazquez and Marco Asensio, late in the game. The only concern remains Keylor Navas. Given his vulnerability and the two outstanding saves David De Gea made, it was obvious where Real's one major weakness lies.